Peace and blessing to the 12 scattered abroad. All right, greetings in the spirit, and happy Shabbat. You know, hey, get in the spirit in these last days, man. All right, we coming into Passover season. All right, actually we in Passover season. All right, so we're gonna bring it out a little bit before, you know, we headed to the battlefield, but you know, we might as well go ahead and throw some you know, some bullets in the chamber real quick, man. Stir the spirits up. All right. So this the book of John, John chapter 4. The book of John chapter 4 and verse 6. When Yahushua saw him lie and knew. So like, let's go up. Let's go to John chapter 11. That's what I wanted. So like, it's the book of John chapter 11 and verse 43. And when he said, thus had spoken, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth, man. All right, so we're going to deal with Lazarus real quick, man. Who is Lazarus in the spirit? Because, hey, there's a deeper message, underlining message with the Lazarus story, man. Who is Lazarus in the spirit? Because we know who Lazarus was in the flesh. He was a Jew. And he wasn't just a Jew. He was a believing Jew that believed in Yahushua, him and his sisters. All right. They all believed in the Lord, and he ended up getting raised up because of it. He get raised back up, right? But who is he in the spirit? Lazarus in the spirit. All right, let's go to Ephesians chapter 2. Because 1 Corinthians chapter 2, it says comparing spiritual things to spiritual. Shalom, shalom. This is Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 1. And you has he quickened who were dead in trespasses and sins, wherein in time past you walked according to the course of this world. Right? We all walked according to the course of this world, man. We knew the politics of this world. Right? We knew the taste of this world. We knew everything about this world, and now we like foreign to this world, man. Like Yahushua told his disciples, don't be in the world, but not of it. We are it came to a point where now we are absolute foreigners of this earth, man. We can't speak the same language of this earth because we're not dead anymore. Hey, dead can only relate to dead stuff. But when you're alive, you can't relate to the dead no more, man. So Lazarus was dead, right? Let's bring it out though. This is the book of John, chapter 11 and verse 41. Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead was laid, right? So the stone where the place was laid and where Lazarus was dead for 4 days. And 4 days is also a spiritual number, right? It's also a spiritual number. So he get his disciples to remove the stone. That's spiritual, man. Because we're removing the stones. Us out here on the highways and byways, bidding our people to come back into the marriage. We are removing the stone. What is the stone? What is the stone that's in the way between our people and this truth? Right? Let's find out. All right, there's a few precepts, matter of fact. Let's go to 2 Peter's, right? So when we bring this message out to the dead people, it's like we're saying, Lazarus, come forth. But the first thing the Lord, our master, our Messiah, tells us to do is to remove the stones, man. Because you're not going to be able to hear not a word from the man of the Lord if the stone is in front of you, man. All right, so let's get this real quick. This is Romans chapter 11. It's a lot. It's the book of Romans chapter 11. And let's read verse 7. What then? Israel has not obtained that which he seeks for, but the election has obtained it, and the rest were blinded. According as it is written, God has given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they shall not see, and ears that they shall not hear unto this day. And David said, let their table be made a snare, right? Let the word of God be made a trap. Let the, Salaki, it says, let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block. A stumbling block. That's the stone. The stone is a stumbling block, man, for many to fall, because you ain't gonna seek for the truth if you don't know that you need healing. Yahweh Shah said, I didn't come for the righteous, but for those that are sick and realize that they're sick, man. When we get into Deuteronomy 28 and we give you the breakdowns, we're explaining how sick we are. But in that sickness, there's a healing format when we read the curses. Because within the curses, there's blessings, right? Because you're fixing the problem. You got to go into the problem in order to fix it, man. It's like the scientists say when a serpent, when you get bit by a serpent, you can use the same venom, right? You can use the same venom as medicine to heal you from that very bite that you got bit with by that very same serpent, right? Why you think the Lord told Moses to put the bronze serpent up on in the wilderness so the people can get healed? Those that looked at the bronze serpent, hey, they got healed, man, right? Likewise with these curses. But you don't know that because there's a stumbling block. There's a stone right in the middle between the truth and your reality, man. And this is why we are here as men of the Lord, all over the earth, preaching this truth, right? This truth is very important, and only those that the Lord has called to do it can do that. So let's go back. Oh, matter of fact, let's get one more. Let's get one more. Let's get Peter's. That's a good one too, right? So when Lazarus was dead for 4 days, Yahweh Shah comes over there. He tells his disciples, remove the stone out of the way, man. Right? He tells his men, remove the stone out the way. This is 1 Peter's chapter 2 and verse let's start at verse 4. To whom coming as unto a living stone, disennowed indeed of men, but chosen of Yahweh and precious. Skip down. Verse 6. Wherefore also it is contained in the scriptures, behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone, elect, precious, and he that believes on him shall be confounded. That's right, man. Shalom, shalom. Right? So that stone that was in the way represent many things. But that, Yahweh Shah, he's a cornerstone. So when he came in on the scene, hey, nobody liked it, the message that he was bringing. He was that stone. He was there to break up the tradition of man. He was there to break up all the stuff some of the stuff that was taught, and refresh or restore the things that were taught when our forefathers was in the midst, before the captivities and things of that nature, when we was in the wilderness and things of that nature. He came to restore that, right? Let's bring it out though. Let's go back to Lazarus, man, because Lazarus today on a spiritual level is the nation of Israel, man, right? When you look at Zephaniah, and we a dead race, man. You can clearly see we a dead race just looking at our culture, right? Whether black, Hispanic, Native Indian, you go to any of these cities, you go to any of these areas, they all look similar, man. How a brother from New York looks similar in the projects or in the cities, similar to a man to brothers in LA, or to brothers in up north, right? I go to Haiti, same thing. I go to Caribbean, same thing. I go to Mexico, same thing, right? I go to the Native Indian areas, right? Same thing. Why? Where's all the ghettos at in the damn Edomite communities? Right? Elam live better. Chinaman live better, man. Why? Because the Lord's trying to show us wherever you at, Jake, in this world, you are in the slums because you have broken the laws of the Most High and you reject the faith of Mashiach Yahushua, man. Right? And because of that, you are dead. This is the book of Zephaniah through the Spirit. All right, this is Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. Right? We're not a nation not desired, man. So if you're not a nation not desired, that means you're not recognized on the platform of the world, man. You're not considered the Israelites. You're considered black, separate blacks. You got your own section, right? Mexican, separate Mexican. You your own race, you your own section. Native Indian in your own section, right? But the Lord says you are Israelites, man. And you will be recognized as such when the new kingdom comes, man. That's why you should be very, like you really should be pumped up, right? You should pump yourself up every day to want to see the kingdom of heaven, man. All right, you should hate this place, right? You shouldn't have, look, don't get too comfortable here, man. This is not no comfortable place. This is a rough road on purpose, right? God don't want us to be comfortable here. Man, if Joshua gave us rest, we wouldn't be speaking of another day, man. Not all Mexicans are Israelites. Did brothers say that? All right. And we know that you got Spaniards and you got indigenous Hispanics. That's who we talk. We talk about the indigenous, right? And don't miss me with the color line, because if you basing that off color, brother or sister, you don't know what you're talking about, right? Because the Most High says confusion of faces. All right. The Most High says, even Joshua, or not Joshua, but was it Joseph? He had a garment of many colors. That was spiritually talking about Israel in the last days, man, on a spiritual level. But you'll never get that. All right. Oh, okay. Hey, you still learning? All praises, man. You know what I'm saying? We receive that, man. But you know, we got a lot of scoffers that come up and do that, because just to get off topic, well, it's actually on topic. What's his name? Blumenbach. All right, Blumenbach, he was an anthropologist in the 1500s who created racism by basis of skin color. And if you was a Chinaman, they'll call you Mongoloid. If you was black, they'll call you Negro. If you was the Ethiopian, I think they used that term Ethiopian, right? If there was white, it was superior. They call them that. If there was indigenous, they'll call them Mexican and stuff. They did that to divide the children of Israel based off skin color, that in these last days will look at each other like, oh, you ain't my people because the way you look. Because in school, we was always taught you are people based off how you look. We never were taught nationhood. We were taught separatism, right? It's all about, you know, and inclusiveness. Actually, we was taught inclusiveness, but nevertheless, it was an underlying indoctrination. So this is why I say that we're dead until you come to the truth, of course, right? So let's go back to Lazarus, right? This is the book of John, chapter 11 and verse 41 again. Then they took away the stones from the place where the man was dead. And Salaki, then they took away the stone from the place where the dead was laid, and Yahushua lifted up his eyes. So after they removed the stone, because hey, there's a lot of stuff in the way of this truth, man. Religion is in the way of this truth. That represents a stone between you and the truth, man. Or those that don't know the truth, they're dead right now. As we read in Ephesians chapter 2 and 1. You are dead in your trespasses and sins, but the Lord has quickened you. So that stone is spiritually talking about religion. That stone is spiritually talking about all these things that our enemies, these different nations have set up to keep us in sin and to keep us far away from the Most High. And Yahushua tell his disciples to remove that stone so the next step he can do. What is the next step? Let's find out. After the stone is moved, he says this, where the dead was laid, and Yahushua lifted up his eyes. So after the stone was moved, he looked up in the sky, right? Lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank you that thou hast heard me, right? So the first thing, before he even produced a miracle, he said, the water Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Or he says, the water Yahweh, right? And that's mighty, man. Before you make any moves, always give the Most High honor, man. Right? That makes way for the miracles to come. Right? So let's do it. Yeah, the Bible's not black. First of all, black didn't even exist until we came to America. Right? Black haven't even this. It's all these are what they call it. I can't think of it right now, but you know, black, white, all this, they created in the 1500s in Virginia, right? And it was for a reason. Everything Esau do is for a reason. So this is how they divide the 12, through color line. When our forefathers was here, they wasn't looking at it. They wasn't going to war because, hey, you're a lighter, you're a lighter indigenous, and I'm a dark indigenous. We're going to war. You're a nigger. Hey, you're a beaner. They wasn't doing that, man. They were going to war based off other things, right? There's books I've seen where you see an indigenous, so-called Hispanic of the past. I'll say Aztec, right? And then an indigenous black Native Indian that people not used to. It's like, what is this, right? They're fighting each other, and people say, see, they never got along. Nah, we always fought, man. We fought. If you go into the scriptures, this all through the history of Israel, we always fought each other. We go to war off of disagreements, off of different kingships, off of different doctrines like we doing today, right? All the way up to the New Testament. What Paul told the people of the New Testament, the 7 churches. He says, are you not carnal? When one say, hey, I am of Paul, I am of Cyrus, right? He says, we just plant, God get an increase. We see that today, though. The same spirit, man. I got my group, and nobody greater than us. We the best spirit, right? So we always been beef. We always been doing that. And the Lord, when the Lord came, he came to break down the walls of separation between us, those two kingdoms and those two nations. All right, so let's keep going. All right, this is 42. And I knew that thou hear me always, but because of the people which stand by, I believe that thou hast sent me, right? So he wanted a massive miracle of raising the dead up. That's right. He did touch a man that was in the coffin and he up, right? But this was a little spirit. This is way more spiritual, man, because he was dead for 4 days already, right? The Lord wanted to make sure he was dead. He wanted to make sure he was dead so the people can believe, man. All right, so let's keep going. It says, and he that was dead, verse 43, and when he thus had spoken, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. That's that truth today, man. The truth is yelling, Lazarus, come forth, man. It's time to get out your grave. It's time to open that tomb, walk up out of there, all right, and clean your act up, man. Be a light to this world, right? You are now alive, man. Now that you are alive, you have responsibilities to do now, right? You can't be living like you've been living your whole entire life, man. All right? Put your fringes on, right? Eat different, right? Think different. Wake up different. Go to sleep different. Pray. This is the new culture that you have never learned, and now you're learning, right? He says, Lazarus, come forth. That's a whole message in itself, man. Just that one statement, Lazarus, come forth. All right? So let's finish. And he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot with grave clothes. Right? So you were bound in foot with grave clothes, man. So he seen Lazarus. Lazarus had mummy clothes. He said, man, hey, take all that stuff off him, right? He used his disciples to take off the grave clothes off of Lazarus, man. That's spiritual, right? Because Israel is dead for years. The moment you went into slave ships, that's when you knew you was in hell. That's when you knew reaping and gnashing of teeth was real. That's when you knew that you'll never see the reality that you're supposed to live up until now. God, that's the brother. Yeah. So all praises. Let's finish though. Through the Spirit. Lazarus, come forth, man. Lazarus, come forth, take your grave clothes off. And he was dead, and he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted Isaiah real quick through the Spirit. Just to prove that, hey, the Lord said we are dead people, man. We are dead people. You know, you look at our communities, homelessness, drug infested. Like Trump, he wants to uplift the segregation ban, so segregation can be established on in America again, right? He want to do that. I'm like, look, just think about segregation. We know it was bad because we was going to war with Esau, right? But look at the power in segregation. When we were segregated, we knew who our enemy was. We knew who our enemy was when we were segregated, right? Before segregation, no, after Salaki, before we integrated, there wasn't no gang banging, there wasn't no crack selling, right? There wasn't a massive of our people locked up. None of that stuff, man. Right? The moment we integrated under the authority of MLK's, plan. Hey, it was hell, man. He even said it. He said, I feel like I'm gonna integrate my people into a burning building, and that's exactly. And we in the worst state. They said they made sure when they took those physical chains off us, they was gonna make sure they're gonna mentally destroy us to a capacity we wouldn't even imagine, man. And we see that our people are messed up in the mind, whether black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. Now, brothers want to have a little more than others, but for the most part, for the all around, format, at the end of the day, we all in the same boat, man. All right, we in the boat of a slave ship, and until we come right, until we get right. Hey, man, the Lord is going to constantly put judgment on us. So right now, the Lord is saying, Lazarus, come forth, man. All right, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 1 and verse 5. Why should you be stricken anymore? You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick, the whole heart faint. From the sole of the foot even unto the head, there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and purifying sores. They have not been closed, right? Our wounds, they've been closed. We're not healed from slavery, right? We still got generational trauma, man. We're not healed from none of these stuff, man. We still been going through. Our Hispanic people they still not healed, man. That's why it's so hard to get a lot of them in the truth. They're not mentally healed in the spirit, to go into the history, to humble themselves to the word, to look at their brother as their brother. And likewise with a lot of you Jakes in the Southern Kingdom, right? Look how many Haitians we haven't even touched yet, the surface. Because they constantly going through different hells just trying to get out of that, right? So it's a lot of pressure on all of us, man. So we need to be more light with our people. We need to be more light with each other, man. Because we traumatized, man. The Bible just said that. Let's read that again. It says, they have not been clothed. None of our wounds have been closed, man. No reparations. right? No settlement, nothing, right? So he says, they have not been clothed, neither bound up, neither modified with ointment. There you go right there, man. So we ain't been modified with ointment, none of that stuff. That's also the man that the Good Samaritan picked up. The Good Samaritan is the prophets of the Lord, and the man that got beat up and thrown down. Hey man, that's Israel, man. All right. So the spiritual aspect of Lazarus is Israel being dead and being raised up in these last days, according to Ezekiel 37, man, through the Spirit. All right, so with that, man, y'all have a mighty Sabbath. Stay in the Spirit. Kwam Mashallah.